Imagine a world where one single tragic moment just flips everything you know upside down. Suddenly you're seeing things, vibrant colors around people, hearing their thoughts, maybe even chatting with, well, with people who've passed on. Today we're doing a deep dive into the frankly astonishing experiences of a young woman named Ever. Her life was completely transformed after this terrible accident. Our source material is this really detailed narrative of her journey, and it gives us this unique window into a life that's just, well, far beyond the ordinary. So our mission today is not just to tell her story, but to really unpack the psychic abilities she developed, look at the mysterious people who came into her life, and try to understand the huge choices she faced. I mean, faced with a reality way more complex than anything she'd imagined. What really strikes you about stepping into a world where suddenly all the unseen stuff becomes so vivid? And maybe how does her story kind of echo the challenges we face with just information overload today?
It's a fascinating premise, isn't it? That sudden shift in perception, especially how Ever's whole world just gets rewired after one traumatic event. It really underscores how much our reality is shaped by what our senses tell us. And for her, suddenly there's this massive, intense flood of new sensory input.
Right. And before the accident in Ever's life, it was, pretty standard stuff. Eugene, Oregon, popular high school kid, cheerleader. She had her family, parents, a younger sister, Riley, even their dog, Buttercup, a yellow lab. Her life was, well, she described it as complete, totally normal.
Yeah, and that normal existence just got completely shattered. The car accident, it took her whole family, her parents, Riley, Buttercup, all on. Ever herself had what's described as a near-death experience. So you actually remember the feeling of, well, dying. And it was right after that, waking up in the hospital, that everything just...
Instantly, yeah. These psychic abilities just sort of appeared. She started seeing swirls of color emanating from their body, she said, like a rainbow energy field around everyone. That was the aura site. Imagine just seeing colors everywhere. She even asked her nurse, apparently, "Why are you all pink?"
Huh, yeah. Must have been bewildering. And these colors weren't random, were they? She quickly learned they corresponded to specific things. The sources let out this whole aura color chart. So like red could mean energy, passion, maybe anger. Blue was more spiritual, loyal. Green could be peaceful, but also deceitful, apparently. Yellow, optimistic. Violet, wisdom. Indigo, intuitive. Pink, love. Gray, depression, skepticism is like suddenly having this instant cheat sheet to everyone's inner state.
That's a great way to put it, a cheat sheet. But it wasn't just visual, right? She also started hearing thoughts.
Yeah, thought hearing. She described it as just this constant noise, random thoughts and voices bombarding her head all the time.
And then there was the touch thing, gaining a person's whole life story just by touching them.
Exactly. Which she found, and this is direct quote, too revealing, too exhausting. So understandably, she started actively avoiding any physical contact.
Yeah.
Really shows the downside, the burden of knowing so much.
Absolutely. Think about that. Seeing emotions, hearing thoughts, getting life stories through touch. It's complete sensory overload. She really struggled at first, didn't she? Had to learn fast to just keep quiet about the color wheel sightings after getting, eye exams and psych evaluations. It does make you think about our own lives with constant notifications, news feeds. How do you cope when the input is just too much? What can her struggle tell us there?
It's a really strong parallel. The psychological toll on her was huge. She literally started shielding herself. Hoodies, sunglasses, avoiding touch, avoiding crowds. Social stuff became overwhelming. She stopped listening to music because it was too much input. Even stopped studying because, well, the answers would just pop into her head. And her friends changed too. She drifted from the popular group and started hanging out more with kids like Miles and Haven, who were maybe seen as troubled. She felt they kind of got her more, or at least didn't judge the weirdness. It shows how these massive shifts can isolate you or maybe force you to find a different kind of community.
And as if all that wasn't enough, something or someone from her past reappeared. Her little sister Riley, her dead little sister.
Yeah, Riley becomes this constant companion, often bratty, kind of spoiled, the narrative says, but also a comfort. Ever apparently described her as one less person to miss, which is just heartbreakingly poignant, isn't it? At first, Riley was silent, but then she started talking. She'd show up in Ever's favorite clothes or sometimes these new designer tracksuits, always teasing. It's a really complex mix of grief, comfort, and something else entirely. Like, what does presence even mean then?
But Riley wasn't exactly an open book about the afterlife, was she?
No, very
Yeah.
evasive.
Yeah.
If ever pushed too hard about where their parents were or Buttercup or what the other side was like, Riley would just disappear for a while, like a punishment. It suggests there are maybe rules to this new reality that even Riley couldn't or wouldn't break.
Okay, so Ever's dealing with auras, thoughts, touch memories, and her ghost sister. Then someone new arrives, Damon August.
Right. New student, instantly magnetic, apparently. But the thing that grabs
Aura.
Exactly. While everyone else is radiating color, Damon has nothing but blank, empty space. Just void. After learning to read auras, imagine seeing that. It must have been jarring.
And completely captivating, you'd think. Despite her wanting to hide, and he wasn't just auraless, he had other things going on.
Oh, yeah. Really unusual abilities, like supernatural speed. He moves so fast he actually blurred. And this incredible ability to just silence a room. Not by shouting, but by silencing the thoughts she was hearing. Instant quiet in her head when he was near. Plus, manifesting things. Red tulips appearing out of nowhere, making rosebuds bloom from another girl's ear, apparently.
Yeah, it's quite the party trick. Academically.
Off the charts. Perfect scores, incredible artwork, like recreating a Picasso flawlessly, all without seeming to study or even read the material. Evernote's talent cannot be faked, but he just knows things. Touches a test paper, knows the answers. And his travel history seemed impossible. Italy, France, England, Spain, Belgium, New York, New Orleans, Oregon, India, New Mexico, Egypt. Just casually mentioned.
That huge range of places starts to hint at something bigger, doesn't it? Something older.
Definitely. And it leads up to the big reveal.
Yeah.
Damon tells her he's immortal. He's lived for hundreds of years, maybe 600. He's known all these historical figures. Picasso, Van Gogh, Shakespeare, Emily Bronte, Da Vinci, Botticelli, Einstein. Even the Beatles.
The Beatles, that somehow makes it feel more real, connecting it to something relatively recent in his vast timeline. It grounds the immense age, you know?
It does, and his home confirms it. This huge, mostly empty mansion, except for one locked room. And inside, priceless art, signed first editions.
Yeah.
All featuring him or dedicated to him across centuries. Portraits of him from different eras. He calls it his happy place, like Ever's memory of her family.
Wow. So then he explains Summerland.
Yes. Summerland. A place between places, he calls it. A dimension where thoughts become reality instantly. He links it to quantum physics, interestingly. And he demonstrates it.
Yeah.
Makes furniture appear, changes the weather just by thinking about it, which raises a big question looking at Damen. With all that history, all that power, does this immortality seem like more of a gift or, I don't know, a burden?
That's a really good question, especially seeing how burdened Ever feels by her new reality. But then comes the absolute bombshell. It changes everything forever.
He tells her why she survived the accident, why she has these abilities. He says he saved her.
Saved her. Wow.
Because her soul, he says, had already moved on during the crash and was lingering in that in-between place in Summerland. And then he drops it. I'm an immortal, and you are too.
Whoa. So Ever isn't just psychic because of the accident. She's actually immortal.
That's what he tells her. It explains everything, the NDE, the powers, her connection to him. He says she's reincarnated many times. Always female, always beautiful, and always crucially important to him. He talks about a river of forgetfulness that usually wipes the slate clean each time so souls can learn, evolve, pay off karmic debts. It seems like her becoming immortal this time was tied to him finding her, pulling her out of that cycle, maybe.
So she's been on this cycle of learning and forgetting, and he's been the constant waiting for her. That completely reframes her entire existence, past, present, future, everything.
Yeah, a total paradigm shift for her.
But this kind of epic story needs a conflict, right? An antagonist. Enter Drina.
Right, Drina, described as a gorgeous redhead. And significantly, like Damen, no aura. Thoughts Ever can't hear. Another immortal.
And she has history with Damen
Yeah.
and with Ever.
A long, destructive history, it turns out. She claims she was Damen's one true love from a previous life, a past incarnation of Ever's soul. And this is where it gets really dark.
How so?
Drina confesses. She admits she caused the car accident.
What? How? Why?
She says she deliberately spooked the deer that ran out in front of Ever's family car. Her goal, to destroy Ever, to show her how lonely your life can be. Just pure malice, born from this ancient jealousy or feud. She also admits to manipulating things behind the scenes, planting bad dreams in Ever's head, messing with Damen's art, trying to drive them apart.
That's horrific. Finding out the most traumatic event of your life wasn't random chance, but a targeted attack.
Exactly. It turns Ever's personal grief into something much bigger, part of this ancient immortal conflict she knew nothing about. So naturally, there's a confrontation. It gets physical. Drina has powers too, paralysis, inflicting pain.
But Ever fights back.
She does. And this is where a really interesting idea comes up in the narrative. Revenge weakens and love strengthens. Ever draws on the memory of her family's love, not on hatred for Drina. And somehow that focus, that positive energy, is what defeats Drina. Drina starts aging rapidly, fading away. It's a powerful statement about choosing love over revenge, isn't it? What kind of timeless lesson do you think that offers about overcoming darkness?
It feels very profound, that idea that love is literally a stronger force. But Ever's journey wasn't over, was it? She still had her own stuff to deal with.
Definitely. She was still struggling with the psychic overload, the headaches, and she turned to alcohol temporarily, using it as a kind of psychic shield to numb everything. An understandable coping mechanism, maybe, but one with its own problems, blurring her abilities and judgment.
Right, and that's when another psychic comes into the picture, Ava.
Yeah, Ava. She was actually hired by Sabine, Ever's aunt and guardian. And Ava has her own abilities. Crucially, she can see Riley, too. Ava offers to help Ever get rid of the alcohol shield, but she also drops this cryptic line, suggesting Ever said goodbye to the wrong person.
Riley.
Seems so. Ava's insight pushes Ever to make an incredibly tough choice. She has to consciously evict Riley, tell her sister Spirit that it's time to fully cross over to move on. It's portrayed as deeply painful for both of them.
A necessary goodbye, though. Letting go. Did Riley go?
Yes. But not before promising Ever a sign from the other side, showing their bond wasn't truly broken. It's a moment of growth forever. Painful but needed.
And what about her friends, Miles and Haven? How did they fit into all this drama?
Well, they saw Ever changing, pulling away, acting strangely. Miles in particular notices Haven starting to act. Weirdly. He sees Haven becoming almost like an acolyte of Drina, dressing like her, adopting her mannerisms. It suggests Drina's negative influence spread beyond just Ever and Damen.
That's sinister. So, despite all this loss and struggle, Ever eventually comes to terms with being immortal.
She does. She chooses to accept it and embrace her life, her connection with Damen. And part of that acceptance involves understanding his unique communication style.
Ah, the flowers.
Exactly. The red tulips he always leaves her. And those white rosebuds he plucked from Stacia's ear earlier.
Okay, so what was the deal with those?
The red tulips? Pretty straightforward. They symbolize undying love, his constant message to her across time. But the white rosebuds, their meaning is the heart that knows no love, heart ignorant of love.
Oh, so why give her those?
It was a test. By giving her the flowers representing a heart ignorant of love, he was trying to gauge her reaction, to see if her feelings for him were genuine or if she was still closed off.
a rather complex, symbolic way to ask, do you really love me?
Very Damen, it seems. Deep, ancient, maybe a bit dramatic, but ultimately about connection. It shows that even with all their power, understanding each other still comes down to these choices, these subtle signals.
So we've covered quite a journey here, from Ever being this normal teenager through immense tragedy, discovering unbelievable abilities, finding an immortal love, confronting an ancient enemy, and finally, choosing her path. This deep dive into her story, it really gives you a lot to think about regarding reality, how we perceive it, and the choices that shape who we become.
Absolutely. And it leaves us and you listening with a pretty big question, doesn't it? If you had the choice, knowing all the pain, but also all the wonder, would you choose to remember every single life you've ever lived? Embrace that century-spanning existence? Or would you prefer the maybe comfort of a clean slate each time? What does living forever truly mean? And maybe more personally, what would you be willing to sacrifice for that kind of love or that kind of knowledge? Something to think about